Hey guys, it's Ernesto. I hope you guys can hear me. I'm not seeing anything coming through live, so I'm hoping that you guys can hear and see me. So if you can, please let me know. But I'm just gonna talk at the top of the show and give you guys some quick updates, and then we're gonna get straight into the main event, which is the interview with Manny. So if this is your first time joining the live broadcast, this show, we call it Talking Business. And basically on this show, we sit down with business owners and talk to them about their business. This particular interview is going to be around Manny, his background, how he started in photography, YouTube, etc. So we're going to get into all of that. So I just want to make sure that you guys could see me greatly and hear me okay. So I see some text coming through saying this sounds good. Yes, all good. Awesome. So everything looked like it's coming through. So some basic background around this channel. So basically this channel is focused around primarily lighting, posing, composition, post-production. We do all of those things on this channel, showing you behind the scenes video. So if this is your first time here, that's what this channel is all about. You know, navigate around, look at the videos, and if you feel so inclined, you know, hit that subscribe button. But today, like I said, we're going to be talking to Manny Ortiz. If you guys don't know Manny is a YouTuber. He's a Sony ambassador, and he's an amazing photographer. And hopefully he's going to give us some great insight into his background and give us some tips and tricks, hopefully, as well as we go through this interview. So as we go through this interview, guys, I'm going to ask Manny a couple of questions. And obviously, this is an interactive conversation and is an interactive interview. That's why we're doing it live. So if you do have any questions that I may not, have raised, put your questions in the chat. And if you could just put a question mark in front of your question or the word question in front of your question, so I will know to navigate in the chat and pick out those questions for Manny. So if you could do that, that would certainly help me out because I am multitasking here. I'm doing, switching and doing the interview as well. So it will be awesome if you guys can help me out with that. One other thing before I start the interview, if you guys haven't noticed, I have changed my Instagram. You guys have given me hell about this Joe Pulse thing, so I changed it. So that's a major key alert. So just follow Ernesto Sue. It's really simple now instead of Joe Pulse. All right. So I changed it for all the ones that were very confused about that Joe Pulse, which I totally understand. I get it. Branding is important. All right. So before I begin, I'm going to show you guys here, and this is where it gets kind of awkward. I'm going to switch here to my desktop just to show you guys, if you don't know, Manny's YouTube, Manny's social media, and then we're gonna get into talking to Manny. All right, so let me bring that up really quick here. So this is Manny Ortiz YouTube website. So if you're not familiar with Manny, go ahead and hit his YouTube website. He's killing it right now on the YouTube, and he's putting out videos every single week. So if you're not subscribed, go over to his channel, hit that subscribe button. Then you also have a social media, which is his Instagram. He puts out nice Instagram stories. I need to get better with that. I am terrible with Instagram and social media in general. But just hit him up on his Instagram. And like I said, my Instagram has been updated as well, so hit me up there. All right, so let me do some awkward switching here one more time and switch over to myself so that I could switch to Manny, and then we're going to start this conversation. So let me just get this set up really quick. So give me 1 second, guys. I think we have we've probably dropped the connection. So give me 1 second. Just have to close that. Start this one more time. Sorry guys, I know you're probably hearing that feedback. I just have to call back Manny really quick. All right, so here's Manny. Hang on a second, guys. I still have to bring him up. So Manny, you can hear me okay, right? All right, hang on. So Sorry guys, I'm just a little bit of technical difficulties. So give me 1 second. All right. Yes, it's normal. All right, so but we roll with the punches. All right, so here we are. So here's Manny. So Manny, what's up? What's going on, my friend?
What's up? What's up, everybody? Can you guys see me?
They should be able to see you now.
Yeah, cool.
There's a slight delay, so they should be able to see you in a bit.
Cool.
So what's been going on? What's new?
Man, I mean, right now just trying to balance life and work.
I
Hold
I
on.
I hear that. You should see it pop up in a few. I think there's like maybe like a 10-second delay
Because
or so.
I'm watching it on my computer and I don't see myself pop up.
It's live, trust me. I could see you right now. It's a little bit delayed. And if you look
Cool,
at the
cool,
comments, I think the comments are more ahead of you than the video.
cool. There we
So
go.
so you see yourself?
Yeah.
Hey, I tried to actually, you know what? I tried to grow the beard just for you, just for the team beard, for this. But I can't do it, man. I just don't have the beard.
Dude, just rock it, man.
And look, I also got this here little prop for you guys. So if, as you guys know, Manny is the Sony ambassador. So I brought out my little Sony A55, which is the first camera I ever had when I started out in photography,
Yes.
just for Manny here.
Yes.
I was telling Manny before the live broadcast that basically people used to tease me about, shooting Sony, and saying, "Yo, why you not shooting with Canon, or Nikon, one of the two?" And actually, I didn't switch to Canon because of that peer pressure. The only reason I switched, and I think it was a common problem with Sony, not recently, but in the past, is basically lens options. It was like very limited to none lens options when it comes to this crop sensor camera that I had, and that's the only reason I switched to Canon,
And
and
that was me. That was me.
that was you.
I was giving my one of my friends at the time. I was giving him so much crap because he had like the Sony. He had the little cheap Sonys, like the one that you have. And I was like, dude, what are you doing, man? Like you're supposed to shoot Canon and Nikon, like what are you doing? So
So you
now
so
I'm eating my own words right
so
now.
so you're part of those folks that was giving me the peer pressure to get off of my Sony to go to
Yep,
something else.
yep, that
So
was me.
that's
That
awesome.
was
So I
me.
guess we should start there, like start from the beginning, like before you even thought about photography, like, what were you doing prior to photography?
Well, before photography, well, I mean, I'm still doing what I'm doing now. I'm in the field of law enforcement, and so yeah, so I picked up the camera as a hobby, man. I was I needed a new hobby. I picked up a camera, man, and it just one thing led to another, literally.
Wow.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's funny. There's a lot of stories that's similar to yours. Mine included. I just picked it up because it was a hobby as well. But I didn't had any other hobbies. Like this was it. This was my only hobby that I ever had. So besides photography,
That's it,
like
man.
what other hobbies did you have? Like that you chose, like this was the path that you needed to go to instead of the other hobby that you had.
Okay, go. Okay, you know what? My daughter walked in. All right, baby, close the door, please. Thank you, baby. All right, cool. All right, so I was a bodybuilder, believe it or not. And I know a lot of you guys are gonna laugh at me, but I really was. Like I was a gym rat. That was like my main hobby. And I was actually pretty solid. I weighed like 25 more pounds than what I do right now. So
Wow.
I'm at the skinniest I've been in a while. So I kind of got it when I got into photography, I didn't have time for both, man. So
So you chose a path.
yes.
So when you got into it, like what were you shooting? Like did you go straight into portraits? Like what were you shooting before you get into what you're shooting today?
Man, I was doing landscapes. Landscapes and pictures of Diana. And I'm still doing that.
That's well, the landscapes change, but is it a reason you navigated to people as opposed to landscapes? I just lost your feed. I just lost his feed, so I'm gonna call him back. So guys, give me 1 second. Let me just switch here, It's been the technical issues we were having earlier. So give me 1 second. Let me get him back. 1 second, everyone. I just need to call him back. 1 second.
All right, am I back?
Yes, you're back. All
Oh
right.
gosh, I panicked for a little bit.
All right. So I'm gonna bring you up here and bring you over. So I was asking. I lost the thread of my whole conversation piece. Oh yes, photography. Why people as opposed to landscape? What made you gravitate towards people over landscape?
I think I like the instant gratification of when we're working somebody with working with somebody. I love that instant gratification where you can show somebody what you just did. You know what I mean? And I just like that. Landscapes to me was kind of cool, but I don't know. I like shooting. I like that instant gratification. I think that's what I like. I like making people look and feel good. I love when they look at the back of their camera, they're like, "Oh my God, like that's me." Nah, that's what I like.
It's interesting because I know that you are an introvert, kind of like me, right? So, and it's funny that we kind of gravitated towards shooting people as
Isn't
opposed
it?
to shying away from people. So, as an introvert, like how did you make that transition to say, okay, yeah, I'm gonna engage with this stranger and talk to them and take their pictures and stuff like that?
You know, it was it was really hard, and it's actually embarrassing for me to say this that I've actually canceled photo shoots because because I had so much anxiety before the shoot.
Wow.
Yeah, it was. I mean, my social anxiety was really bad, man. And it just goes to show how far I've come. Seriously, like I had so much anxiety around people, and now it's okay. It's just the norm now, you know.
So, what made you build up that confidence? Like, was there a process that helped you to build that up, or how did you get to the point where you had that much confidence now you don't have to cancel photo shoots?
You know, it was it's all on how bad you want it, right? Like I really like photography. I'm like I have to do this. I have to do it, you know? So what I would do is kind of like put on a pay not like a fake persona, but just like have a lot of confidence, like fake confidence. You know, go in there with a lot of fake confidence and make these people believe that you know what you're doing. And that worked out for a while, you know? I just okay, they don't know me. Let me give them a good first impression. Let me pretend like I'm not nervous and I know what I'm doing. That kind of worked out.
So, did you like? I know for me, like when I got into it, there was two people that I followed specifically. There was Jeremy Cowart, right? Like he's the one that actually made me choose, Canon in a way because of the lenses that he had. I was like, okay, I got to get the 24 to 70 because he shoots that a lot.
Right.
And then there was Jerry Gionis. He had the 70 to
Ooh,
200 lens, and I was like, yeah, I gotta get those 70 to 200. Like that was his main thing, right? But
yeah.
those two guys, right, styles are completely different, right? But one of the things that when I was, basically, having them as my quote unquote mentors, even though I never met either one of them at the time, right? I still haven't met Jeremy, not Jerry. So I still haven't met Jeremy yet. But I watched both of them and I studied their styles. And when I got into this and I said I'm going to start shooting people, there was like this one specific thing that I tried to mimic on both of their styles. And then when I got in front of someone to, give them that fake confidence, like you stated before, is I tried to duplicate the type of images that they were producing so that I could say, okay, here's that wow image, so I could
Yeah.
get that initial wow. And then from there, I basically, we'll play around and get like crappy shots or whatever.
Right.
But is that kind of was your process, or you had like a different methodology towards, getting that confidence level up?
Man, I didn't honestly I never had a mentor since I started. I literally it's interesting because I think about it. I'm like, it's kind of sad, my story. Like, I don't have an inspiring story. Like, they never put me in front of a crowd, try to inspire people with my story because it literally was. It was a hobby. I didn't have any mentors. I didn't have any photographer. I had one photographer friend, but he didn't really help me out. I just kind of learned on my own, man, watching YouTube videos and taking pictures around the house. Literally doing free photo shoots for people. I That's how I did, like, kind of learned, the ups and, just my way around a camera and stuff like that. But
Wow.
that's it, man. Yeah,
So YouTube University.
literally, literally.
All right, guys, give me one more second. So we lost Manny again. So let me give 1 second. All right, you're fighting it. What is it? Is like you getting texts coming in? Is that what's dropping it, or is the internet?
It just happens out of nowhere. Like, yeah,
All right. So we're back. We're back, people.
we're back.
All right. So I was trying to keep the people entertained, and now I lost the train of my thought. So I won't continue along with whatever it is that I was just chatting about. So I guess from from the inspiration, I guess from trying to inspire people and build up their confidence when you got into photography, what made you choose like weddings, which I would think like would be the most difficult thing to do? What made you choose that realm?
You know, I knew that's where the money was at, right? The money is at in weddings. I had a lot. I had as I started to grow as a photographer on Facebook, I made photographer friends. They were wedding photographers here in Chicago, and yeah. So I went to one wedding. I second shot at my first wedding, and I was so lost.
Hmm.
Like, I didn't think weddings were that hard. I didn't think there was that much pressure. There was so much pressure. Like, I completely folded in that wedding. I don't know what was going on. Where should I be? What should I be taking a picture of? Yeah, it was a nightmare. But I ended up getting into weddings, and I think 2 years ago was my biggest year. I think I shot like 20 to 30 weddings, and that was it for me. That was it. I couldn't do it anymore. I mean, the money was great. Don't get me wrong. The money was great, but you worked for that money, let me tell you. Because, and it's not even the wedding day. That shooting the wedding day actually is almost one of the easiest parts, you know? Because that's where I flourish, right? Because that's where I can kind of be creative and do my thing. It's the whole client, the client meetups, being at their mercy, basically. I need this, or I need this, or I need to, they want to jump on a call after the fact. They want this, they want that. It's just, that was a little too much for me. I couldn't handle it.
So you didn't mind the actual act of shooting the wedding, but you just didn't want to, deal with the service aspect of it, which I would think like be I think that's one of the things that people preach a lot when you go to these like workshops is like service, 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 shooting
Yeah,
secondary, service, service, service. So I could definitely see your point being like an introvert. You don't want to have this constant social connection with your wedding clients and stuff like that. So the issues that you were having with weddings, you know, unpack, I guess, for people that's trying to get into weddings, like specifically, what challenges you deal with. Like for me, I know I dealt with process. Like my wife and I, we didn't have like an official like wedding. We went to like a courthouse. This wasn't planned. We just went to the courthouse to get our papers, and we just decided that day, hey, let's just do it. Let's just get married. So we never really had, an official marriage, and I did not an official marriage. It was
wedding.
official wedding. So I didn't know what the process is. I didn't know what getting ready is all about. I didn't know what family formals and all that stuff. So for me, it was just more about understanding what the process was. And once I
Right,
understood the process, then that helped me to break it down. So second shooting helped me out with that, doing a lot of second shooting,
for
just
sure.
figuring out the day. So what helped you overcome some of those, daily challenges that you would have when it comes to weddings?
That the morning of the wedding, I was already a nervous wreck, right? Because you have to go to someone's house.
Mm-hmm.
and you don't know these people. It's like it's so daunting to go into someone's house, you know, and you don't know anybody there, and you have to like, you know, oh hey, I'm the photographer. Oh yeah, you know, and then you got to start talking to people and getting people, and people don't know you. They're just looking at you like, you know, like what's going on here. I don't know. It's just that whole process was really daunting toward me and for me, and the only way to do it was just to do it. Seriously, like I remember days when I would leave the house and Diana would have to give me like a little pep talk, like, babe, you're gonna be fine. Babe, this, babe, that, and I'm just like, babe, I don't even want to go anymore. Like, I'll just stay home. I don't want to go anymore because that is the kind of pressure that I had on me, that I had on myself doing this kind of stuff. But the only way, because if I really wanted to be a wedding photographer, so I just did it. I just did it, you know.
Yeah. All right, guys. So Manny just dropped, as you could see. I'm sure you could see it. So let me switch this back, and I'll try to get him back here. It must be the Chicago weather, interrupting the conversation. So let me get him back here. So give me 1 second, guys. Sorry. Apologies. We'll make it up to you. You're back.
This is so bad.
All right, here we are. We're back, fully in action. It's just gonna be a quick, 2-minute intermission here and there. So bear with us.
That's what it is. It's an intermission, guys. This is all part of the plan. All right.
Yes.
Everybody roll with it.
All part of the plan. Giving you guys great service. Well, great information. All right. So for you was just basically just do it. If you have some challenges in front of you, I guess your advice with respect to doing the weddings is basically just do it, right?
If you want to bat it off, you just got to do it. You gotta get into those zones where you're just not comfortable. You just have to do it, and that's the only way to get over it. I have come over, not only photography wise, but like the social aspect, which not everybody has to deal with. Photo Mike. I always say his name, Photo Mikey, but but see, he has a personality that he thrives in these social situations.
Yeah,
like, that's something that I had to like. It took me a long time. I'm still not at where he's at, but it took me a really long journey to get where I'm at right now. So
yeah,
yeah,
he's definitely an extrovert.
Oh yeah, big time.
So as far as brand awareness, transitioning now from weddings and now getting into this social media aspect, the YouTube aspect of it, like how important do you think personal branding is in this day and age? I know Gary Vaynerchuk talks about it a lot. Talking about having a personal brand. Like how important it is, do you think, to have a personal brand these days?
It's one of the like most important things, because I mean, how are you going to stand out? The internet is full of photographers and people doing YouTube, and it's very important to brand yourself. You know what's funny is that I had a really hard time trying to brand myself. I don't know what to brand myself as, but I just kind of let it happen, right? Can you tell me, in your eyes, what is my brand?
And you're a portrait photographer.
Okay.
I
Well,
would
that's
say
fair enough.
I would say YouTube too as well, but your brand is more, to me, is more of a portrait photographer.
Okay. Yeah.
But then I
It's
know what other people may say, like, Sony, but for me, it's more portraits.
Yeah. A lot of people associate Diana with me, which is something that I embrace, right? People associate my wife with me because obviously I photograph her. She's a lot on a lot of my thumbnails. I embrace that because it's different. You know, Jerry Guiones and his wife, they make a great team. Um, I embrace that, man. You know, that's part of me, my branding. I consider me and Diana a team. Like she's part of my brand. So that's how I kind of stand out in a way.
And that, I think that's pretty powerful in the sense that you're able to have your significant other support you in such a way
Yeah.
that you guys are more like a teammate. And I think when I watch your video when Diana's in it, she adds that element that you're talking about. That I guess maybe that extrovert element to it that basically helps to add that special comedic touch to the video that just makes it a little bit very very interesting and funny. So I think she's like the secret sauce to your.
She is 100% the secret sauce. And see what we do on camera, that's nothing compared to real life. Like all we do is just talk crap to each other all day and make fun of each other and pranks and whatever. Yeah, it gets kind of crazy.
I think I saw an Instagram live that you were doing, and you were talking about Diana being like she was put in this earth to troll you or something like that. So
Oh yeah, for real.
I'm surprised she's not up in the chat right now saying something funny. Well, I
I
can't.
know. She took our son to the little karate class. So
Oh, okay.
expect her arrival soon. She'll be in here.
Yeah, she's cool people.
Yeah, she is.
So I was also researching some of, well, I guess before I get into the YouTube, I guess we need to talk about, and people will say why you didn't talk about it, so I might as well talk about it now.
What's that?
So Sony, right? So why Sony? Like so we dropped the feed again. So give me 1 second. We'll be back. Let me just set this up. So this is our 2-minute intermission. All right. Let me get this back. Give me 1 second, fellas. Well, ladies and gentlemen, give me 1 second as soon as I get him back. Don't forget to drop your questions down below for Manny. Any questions that you have for Manny. Yes, intermission time, Elysium. That is right. So any questions that you have for myself or Manny, just drop those questions in the chat and we'll get to it. All right. I need to I have Google Fiber, so my internet connection is spot on. But hang on 1 second, guys. So we got Manny back here. Let me put him in full screen. And
I have the opposite of Google Fiber, FYI.
I realize. So, but we'll deal with it. We'll do it our 2-minute intermission. We always have to our 2-minute intermission.
There we go. There we go. Sony.
So Sony, why Sony, right? When they have like other mirrorless options out there like Fuji and I don't know. I'm not a gear guy. So I don't know all the
Right.
different gears out there. But why Sony?
Well, I actually was one of the early. I switched to Sony when Sony was just barely coming up, when they had like no E-mount glass, barely any E-mount glass. I switched to them, and that's why I said my buddy put me on Sony. I checked it out, and I love the electronic viewfinder. And it's like, this is a no-brainer. And then I was watching Jason Lanier videos, just like most people. He's like the OG of Sony, right? So I was watching his videos, and I was like, oh, let me check it out. So I got the A6000. I was playing with it. I was like, wow, I like this. And then I got the A7 II. That's when I did that video on YouTube. One of my first YouTube videos was the switching from Canon to Sony. And then I just left it up. I didn't even touch it again. And I realized when I came back to them, like I had like 400 subscribers from that. I was like, wow, look at that. But yeah, it's just the electronic viewfinder kind of sold me, man. The electronic viewfinder for sure. That was like the main thing that got me with mirrorless. And I've been Sony since.
It's interesting. This little camera here, which is like years old, way before the whole buzz of Sony. has the electronic viewfinder in there, has all the stuff that well, not the eye autofocus thing, but
Yeah.
has all the stuff that people rave about today about mirrorless
Yep.
cameras.
Yep.
And I was ahead of time, and people forced me out of ways.
Yeah.
Well, I should say the lens forced me to go the other
Yeah.
in another direction.
Which is understandable, but yeah.
So as far as Sony is concerned, I think Sony, like I said, I'm not totally into gear and switching gears. I just use whatever it is that I have and I play with it, make it work, right?
Right.
But do you think that because Sony is innovating so quickly with from a technology perspective, right? They're innovating so quickly. Do you think that's the reason why people now are so? I mean, everybody was always into like gear, but do you feel
Gear
like
guy.
that's the reason now people are so focused now around actual cameras? Getting the latest and greatest camera.
I think I think that Sony's marketing is genius, right? I think that it's almost like the Apple of photography in a sense because their marketing is really good. And it's kind of hard not to get into the gear. Obviously, I like gear, but I like photography more than gear. I don't sniff my cameras. I like that's not the kind of I'm not that kind of photographer. All I care about is gear. But it's hard not to like it. Sony makes it really hard not to care about the gear because they're putting out some pretty amazing stuff. So um, it's kind of hard not to at this point. But when people ask me, "Oh my God, I have the A7R3, but I'm thinking about getting the A7 III," I'm like, "What? Like, no, 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 just stick with what you got. No, no, don't go." Because yeah, they get kind of excited for the new camera. I'm like, it's pretty much the same thing with 24 megapixels. Like, yeah, so I think people need to stop, spending or stop chasing the next big thing because right now what's out right now is really good. I mean, yeah, that's it. I'm in a weird position right now because, I promote new gear, right? But I make sure to tell people that you don't need it, you know? Like I have an A7R2. Should I get the A7R3? It depends on what you do, you know? But I just think Sony's marketing is genius. That's why they're getting everybody kind of, their gas is tingling. When I say gas, gear acquisition syndrome.
Yeah, for sure. For,
Just in case.
for sure. I do agree with you. I do agree that Sony is definitely taking advantage of the market when it comes to Canon and Nikon, because Nikon or Nikon and Canon
Nikon.
is not taking heed. They're not basically saying, look, we have a significant gap here. We should start doing the same thing as Sony. Sorry, guys. Let me get Manny back. He just dropped again. So give me 1 second here. I'll switch this. Um, 1 second, guys. Sorry. Intermission. Back. All right. Hang on.
Oh my God, it's so bad.
Hey, at least it gives us a little bit of a 3-minute conversation before it cuts us off.
Yeah.
So, what I was saying here was I think Sony's marketing is great because they are quickly innovating where other competitors like Canon and Nikon are not. The one thing that I find that's very the one thing that I find that is very interesting when it comes to Sony and the other cameras is when I look at my Canon, for example, I look at my Canon 5D Mark 3. I don't know what I have. 5D Mark 3, right?
Oh man.
So I look at that, right? And then I look at, the Sony A9 that I tested out, was it the end of last year is when I tested it out, right? So I look at these two cameras. obviously I could create images with both, right? So as far as creating an image, doesn't really matter which one you pick up. You could create an image with either one. But what I found that was so interesting about Sony is that the technologies that's built into it, from a new photographer perspective, it is so easier. It's kind of like when you I never shot film, but obviously I know the struggles of shooting film, right? Having to if the camera doesn't have a meter in it, you have to meter, and then take your picture. You only have a limited number of films that you could take, blah, blah, blah. So switching from that to digital, obviously that was a significant step up, right? So now not switching, but comparing the two, Canon and Sony, it's kind of like, okay, well, yeah, you could take a picture, obviously, but the ease of taking or creating a picture with a Sony is so easier than it is with your DSLR. So when people come to me and say, hey, since I'm not a gear person, and people come to me and say, hey, Ernesto, what do you think of a camera that I should get? I'm like, just go get Sony, because, or Sony or Fuji or one of them, because just go with a mirrorless, because it's just going to help you out with faster. The learning curve is just going to be much quicker, right? So that's what I pretty much recommend to people to go. So just go get one of those mirrorless cameras. It will help you out faster. So I think that's where Canon and Nikon is falling behind, because for the new photographers out there, they're not choosing Canon. They're not choosing Nikon. Unless their parents or friends or something that were shooting Canon or Nikon, then they're going to go and pick that. But brand new, they're just going to go pick up a Sony or a Fuji, just a mirrorless. What do you think?
I think right now most people are picking. A lot of people are picking Sony because it's the hot thing right now for sure. And yes, the electronic viewfinder does help, but sometimes I think that, does the electronic viewfinder kind of hinder your ability or help you learn your settings? Because if you see in real time your ISO working, and what does aperture do? Oh, look, I see what happens in real time. Does that help you or does that hinder you? Because when you shoot a DSLR, you're kind of forced to learn your settings, in manual mode. I don't know, but I mean, I think it does definitely help people, their learning curve for sure.
Yeah, I definitely think the learning curve for sure is what makes me recommend a mirrorless camera over a DSLR camera for anyone else. Because if they do get a DSLR, all I would tell them is just put it in auto, which you don't want it to tell people to put it in auto. You want to tell them, hey, if you want to do photography, put it in manual and go from there. But yeah, that's what I find with Sony. So now moving on to YouTube. So you started shooting Sony. You mentioned that video that you started when you switched to Sony, but I noticed that you have a video out there that was before that video, which was like some video that you were you were showing a friend, I think it was a friend of yours, that was doing some kind of mechanical work on a motorcycle.
Oh my God.
Handle. So basically you did that video, which was like about 5 years ago, right? And then you did the Sony video, which was like 2 years later or something like that. So what made you start that YouTube channel, which is your initial YouTube channel? What made you start the channel to begin with? And he's going to answer that when we come back from this intermission. Hang on one second, guys. This one is gonna call the intermission interview.
See, it's faster when I end the call. Then you just call me right back. See, that's what I'm gonna do. So I'm back.
Okay.
All right. So the question was.
Hang on. Before you answer the question, let me just switch it here.
All right.
Yes, go ahead.
All right. Oh my God, it's funny that you said that, but actually, I started. I did that motorcycle video thinking that, oh my God, it's gonna get so many views because we solved this problem that we had with our motorcycles. Obviously it didn't go anywhere, but I mean, it was fun. And then actually, this is really funny though, because before I even did that Sony switch video, Canon to Sony video, I did a video on my old Nikon D600, and I did it shirtless. Okay. And I did a Nikon D600 video, in my old apartment, shirtless.
I guess that's when
And
you were buff back then, right?
no, yeah, I was a little buff, but I had new tattoos. I had a couple of tattoos right here on my chest. So I was like, I I tend to walk around with my shirt. I didn't have my shirt on a lot of the times because I wanted to show my tattoos. Anyways, but I shot a video. I didn't think I was gonna post it, but it actually turned out. I'm like, oh, this is pretty good info. I put it on YouTube just for the hell of it, and it had a lot of views. I think it got up to like 30,000 views with like really little subscribers, and people were just grilling me on me not having a shirt. Man, dude, put a shirt on, dude. Put a shirt on. It was so funny. So I always tinkered with YouTube, but I never like actually took it serious until I saw that I had like 400 subscribers for that one video. I was like, wow, like let me try this, And after like a couple of months break, so I came back, and I think the reason why I was so successful, I think it was all about timing, you know. Sony started to get really popular, so I kind of went with the wave. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you think it's important to recognize trends and take advantage of the trends?
Um, I think I mean, it has to fit you though. It has to be you. Like, I was already shooting Sony for a while. It's like, okay, so it was a natural transition. I liked flash photography. I like Sony. It was just like a natural transition. I hit the market when Sony was hot and high speed sync was just coming out for Sony. So that's when I hit the market. That's when I hit YouTube, and that's when I started kind of like growing fast. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. So the fact that you got so successful on your initial channel, which was, I think, at the time that you made your decision to say, okay, I'm going to stop using that channel or stop broadcasting on that channel, I think you were close to about like 60,000 subscribers or so. So, what made you, what was the thinking behind having to stop your initial channel and start a new channel? What was going on there?
It's one of the hardest decisions. Let me tell you, Ernesto. I haven't told many people, but after I did that, I went into like it had to be depression because I gave up almost so much of my work, so much of my hard work, blood, sweat, and tears I put into that channel, and I had to throw it away. And my wife would tell me, "Baby, you'll be okay. You'll be okay." And it was just really hard for me because the people that followed me, not everybody transferred. I only had a couple of thousand, like in a couple of weeks or whatever. It was just really depressing for me, but because I put so much work into it, I did it because my AdSense, my Google AdSense was disabled, right? That's one of the ways that YouTubers make money is through Google AdSense, and it's like, okay, in the long run, it's gonna bite me in the butt because there's no way to get that back. So let's say in a couple of years I get a couple of 100,000 subscribers, and I have zero money coming in. Like, I want to do this full time one day. I want to be a photographer full time. I need to be able to make a living. So I took the risk. I started a new channel, and thank God that it worked out because seriously, thank God that it worked out. I continue to hustle, continue to put out videos, and now my channel has grown larger than my other one. So
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. Just I mean, how easy, how many times I wanted to give up. I wanted to give up so many times when I gave up that channel. So many times. It was so heartbreaking for me to just give up my hard work like that. And yeah.
Yeah, that was one of the biggest risks that I ever saw anybody take. I was like, there was so many comments that was like, ah, dude,
Oh,
don't do this. This is like the biggest mistake that you could ever make. Dropping your channel and starting a new one. But I guess since you went through this process, at least I think you're the only person that I know that actually went through this. Yes, he left. All right, so I'll call him back. Give me 1 second, guys. We're gonna go through the intermission one more time. One more second. All right.
they're getting shorter and shorter. That's good.
Yeah, I guess the intermission will last less.
Yeah, there you
Less.
go.
All right.
All right.
So I guess what advice would you give people that's actually going, well, thinking about doing this? Because I know for me, my channel, for example, I don't make any money off of my channel. I don't. Everything that I fund on this channel is out of my own pocket. And the only reason for that is because I never really got that pin from the AdSense. So I don't get paid off of doing this. This is all funded by me personally. So what advice would you give someone who's actually in your similar situation on their channel and wants to transition into something else? Like, how did you build it up from where it is now?
So I mean, the fact that I had my old channel did obviously help out because I brought over some, most of the people, but not all of them came because a lot of people go inactive and stuff like that. But it's YouTube is all about you got to stand out somehow, right? Like I feel like the reason why I stand out is, well, number one, because of timing, right? Because when Sony started blooming is when I kind of went up with Sony, the Sony audience, but my wife as well. I brought that little flavor into my wife coming into my videos. It's kind of like, oh, look at these, a couple doing things. And you just have to bring something to the table, right? Something different. And yeah, that's my advice. You just have to bring something different to the table. Think about what's not being done on YouTube right now, or like something that you see, because photography is already such a niche field, right? Like if I was a tech channel and I put this much work into a tech channel, I'd probably be so much bigger, right? Because everybody's into tech for the most part. I think that you just have to separate yourself from other people. Like if you get inspiration from somebody, don't do the same thing that they're doing. You have to like twist it into your own little flavor and do something on your own. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So yeah, that's my advice.
So after you build up this massive following, which is like over 91,000, 92,000 subscribers now on your YouTube channel. Well, if you add it together, right? 92 plus 60, that's like 150,000 if you count it both ways. Maybe you might be double counting in some aspect, but still, it's in total, right? So after you build up this massive following, like, how do you then like convert this now? Like, how do you start thinking about this from a business perspective? How do you transition it from, being, hey, I'm creating videos, to something that I'm going to be doing, like you said, long term?
Yeah. One thing that just this week, I've gotten so many brands reach out to me, right? But I refuse to work with a brand that doesn't fit me. And that's hard sometimes because these brands offer you a couple, thousands of dollars to work with them. And I turn these brands down because it doesn't fit me. And one thing I want to keep on my YouTube channel is my authenticity. I think that's very important from a business perspective because there's already a bunch of salesmen on YouTube, right? There's people trying to sell you stuff everywhere and whatever and whatnot. I think that I try to stay authentic. Being as authentic as possible is obviously one of my things. I want to be authentic. I want to be, who I am. And if I represent something, I want it to be, something that I truly believe in. So from a business perspective, I do want to do this full time one day, not YouTube, because YouTube's not going to be here it's not going to be here all of our lives. Right. But I want to create multiple revenues of income, right? So I don't want to just do YouTube, but I want to use YouTube as a platform to maybe start booking weddings, but high-end weddings, right?
Yeah.
Because if I can show somebody my deep portfolio and my social media, and it could lead up to bigger jobs, right? Commercial jobs, maybe some high-end stuff. I'm already doing stuff for magazines because of like my social media, but it can lead to bigger things in the future as a photographer. So
yeah, and I think that's important what you just stated. I mean, it's important to keep things in perspective. We are using platforms that are not ours, right? So this YouTube thing could be here today, gone tomorrow, just like MySpace. MySpace was here, gone. Same thing with Facebook, Instagram. All these things could be here today, gone tomorrow. So going back to branding, it's important to brand yourself and also make sure that you have a home for your subscribers to come to outside of your main
for
YouTube.
sure. You know how risky it is to have our everything that I do is in a third party's hands.
1 second, guys, hold that thought. We're gonna have a quick intermission here and we're gonna come back. Hang on 1 second. All that thought. Yeah. By the way, guys, put questions in the, you
Baby,
know, yeah.
I'm back.
Hang on one second. I was telling guys to put your questions. If you have questions, put those questions because I'm almost wrapping up what the questions that I have. So if you guys do have any questions, make sure you drop those questions down below, and I'll start scrolling through those questions to start answering those questions that you guys may have. So, Manny, you were finishing up your thought before you got disconnected. So go ahead.
Uh,
So now it's on you, right? You you lost your train of thought, huh?
no, the whole YouTube thing, right?
Yes.
Having
Yes.
it's kind of nerve-wracking knowing that, they have all your success. Like they can just, if the YouTube goes to crap, I lose everything, right? But that's
Yeah.
why it's important to kind of, diversify yourself, right? Don't put all your eggs in one basket. And that's what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to branch out of YouTube and do other things. Use this as a platform just to get noticed, and then do something else,
Yeah.
right? Maybe, yeah.
Yeah,
That's
it makes
basically what
makes
it's about.
total sense, man. Make total sense.
Yeah.
So, do you suggest? You said brands are reaching out to you. So, do you suggest? So, for a smaller YouTube channel, um, do you suggest other like YouTube channels to reach out to brands, or just sit back, relax, and let brands reach out to you? Like, which one do you think would give you a stronger footing? Obviously, I think I know the answer to this question, but I just want to get your viewpoint as to what you think.
Well, it depends. Like, what kind of brand you talking about?
Like any brand. So, for example, like Squarespace, for example, like every video, not every video, but you like most videos you watch, there's
Gosh.
like Squarespace all over the place, right? So you watch all these smaller channels and be like, damn, why can't I get on Squarespace, And then you see all these some small channels do have Squarespace and be like, damn, how did they get Squarespace? So do you suggest that they would reach out to
Go over there, baby. Go over
hey,
there. My daughter's in here. Hey,
I,
baby. Where's mama? Babe, come here, please. All right, just relax here for now. Yeah, so you're saying about reaching out to brands.
yeah.
Definitely, definitely reach out to them. Definitely. Like Squarespace. There you go. Oh.
Back it up, back it up.
No, no. Um, I'm gonna have my BBC moment. You know when my wife comes
Yeah.
drag my kid out. Come on, people, make it go viral, guys. Make it go viral. I'll redo it just to go viral. I'm joking. I'm joking. Yeah, definitely. That did it look like that a little bit?
It did. It
Because
did.
did you see my wife like
It
grab it like
did.
this? That's what I was thinking. I'm like, man, if she falls, this is gonna go viral. All right. Well, yeah. Yeah, definitely reach out to brands because if they're not noticing you, make them notice you. You know what I mean? Squarespace did come to me, and just for the record, I know you're talking about Squarespace. They actually do pay very well to us creators. And I was already using Squarespace beforehand. Wix had reached out to me too. I turned down Wix because I was using Squarespace.
All
So it
right.
was naturally it was okay. Like, okay, they reached out to me. I already like them. So it worked out.
Yeah.
But yeah, definitely reach out to brands on Instagram. Sometimes I'll reach out to brands to collab, maybe some clothing for her, shout them out on a post. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
yeah.
So there you go. All right. So I think that will be like the questions that I had. I did get one question from earlier. I did ask folks to submit questions from earlier, and I got one. Is it one or two? I think it's two. So one of the questions relates to the thing that you mentioned earlier, which is you're moving, possibly moving, right? Moving down south to Florida. Come down to North Carolina, man. Happily have you down here. Better weather.
Negative.
Negative on the North Carolina. What's wrong with North Carolina? Tell me.
I've never even considered it.
You never
We
went
got
to North.
family down in Florida, man. There's nothing there for me
Which part?
except for Ernesto.
Miami, Florida.
No, we're gonna be in the middle, like in the suburbs of Orlando. I don't want to be near the coast, man. I'm just too freaked out by the hurricanes
Got
and the
it.
wind. Yeah.
So the question that they had was, what is the business decision behind that? I don't think
Behind
it's
what?
behind moving to Florida.
Well, it's not really a business decision. I think it's more about family, right? I live in Chicago, kind of a rough neighborhood I live in, believe it or not, and it's not easy raising a kid here in Chicago. There's a lot of traffic. There's so much congestion. I want to get out of that. I want to be able to just get my family out and have my daughter where my daughter can just go to the backyard and play with our dogs or whatever. Versus in Chicago, we can't do anything. The kids, we can't go out. It's always gloomy.
Hang on, guys. Quick intermission. One more. And again, like I said, just a quick reminder, make sure you drop your questions down below so that we could address those questions. All right. And make sure you put the question mark in front of the question, or a question, the word question in front of your question. All right. Calling, it's dialing, guys. Yo. All right, yep. Hang on. So let me maximize this. So, so you were saying, business decision moving out to Florida.
It's a family decision. But when I do go out there, I'm gonna become a full-time photographer. So yeah, I'm gonna be around Orlando. Sorry guys, but I'm gonna try to dip into the wedding industry. So none of you Orlando photographers get mad at me.
So you're gonna start up the business all over again.
Yeah. So I'm gonna be full-time YouTube, but now that I have more time, I'm gonna be doing weddings and any kind of job that I can do. Got to make a living.
Absolutely. I think you answered partially this question, but there's a second part to this question from someone else. They were asking, what inspired you to get into photography, and what was your first gear?
Wait, one more time?
What inspired you to get into photography, and what was your first gear?
What inspired me was to have a new hobby. My buddy took pictures of his car, literally. Like, it was just let me get a camera. Let me take some pictures too. So there really was no like big motivation behind becoming a photographer. I've never taken a picture before. Like, I never was into photography ever. In high school, it never interested me, nothing. Just picked up a camera and just kind of went on from there. You know what I mean? What was the second part of that?
What was your first gear?
Canon T3. So I got a deal. I got 2 cameras for $400. So I got the Canon T3 for about $200 with kit lens.
Wow. Hey, by the way, Don I can't pronounce your name. Thank you for the super chat. He's basically saying $5. Move down to North Carolina, Manny. So I have a lot of North Carolina supporters up in here. All right, so I'm gonna basically scroll it through now, these questions, y'all, that you've been putting through here. And I'm going to try to see if I could pull some out. I know you guys have been having a lot of personal conversation up in here as well, so it's going to be hard for me to cipher it out. So if you didn't put that question in front of your question, I'm probably going to bypass it. So so Matthew is asking here, when do you do trade for shoots like clothes for your daughter? Do you also charge? So I guess trade shoots for clothes. Do you charge?
I'm doing mostly all trade shoots right now, because if I reach out to the model, I consider that a trade shoot, right? If I reach out to you, it's the trade, right? It's for you to become my YouTube channel, or it's for whatever reason. Mm-hmm. But if someone reaches out to me, even if they're model worthy, I treat that as a business, as a client, potential client. Mm-hmm. So someone can reach out to me and they look like a model, right? And they could definitely model for my channel. But if they reach out to me and say, hey, how much do you charge? I am going to treat them like a client. That's like that's like my thing, right? Mm-hmm. If I reach out to you, it's for a TFP shoot, right? I'm not going to, I feel like it's a pretty good exchange there. But if you reach out to me, it's a business. It's a client, I'm going to treat you as a client. So, yeah.
Yeah, same here. Sometimes the models get mad, be like, "Oh, you just work with my yeah." I got this actually recently, right? I worked with this girl recently, right? This model. She had I go through this a lot. Whereas I don't feel like shooting anything at all. Really, I just don't feel like shooting anything. But this model reached out to me like it was like the night before. Hey, Ernesto, I saw your stuff. Can we do some work together? And I, the first thing before I respond, I always look at their IG to see what they're all about. And I'm scrolling through her IG and I'm like, oh, okay, this might be nice for a YouTube video. So I was like, okay, cool. Reached out to her, said, okay, let's do a shoot. I was really not feeling doing the shoot, so I told her, let's do the shoot the next day. And I was actually hoping that she would come back and say, no, I'm not interested. Actually, not interested. I mean, I'm not available, but can we like push it to something else, right?
Right.
So I was hoping that she would say that, but she just came back and said, yeah, let's do it. I was like, damn, gotta do it. But then when I shot with her, somebody that knew her reached out to me and said, hey, and the mistake that she made was, how much do you charge to do a photo shoot? So I was like, okay, this is a business situation. I'm going to tell her how much I charge, right? So I told her how much I charge, and she's like, well, you shot with my friend. We just lost Manny. Hang on. Let's switch back. Give me 1 second, guys. By the way, just drop your questions here again, because there's a lot of conversations that I saw going on. So just drop your questions again. If you did have questions, just drop it again, because I can't, it's like too many conversations that's going on in there. All right. So. Hey.
All right. Man, these comments got me rolling. Let me tell you, man. Marcus just put $2. Keep Manny out of my city.
I don't know what city is referring to though.
He's from Orlando.
Oh, he's
and when
from
I said
Orlando?
I'm coming to shoot some weddings in Orlando, he's like $2 to keep me out.
I think you're probably gonna have to pay a little bit more for that, right?
Yeah, a little bit, yeah.
So yeah, I mean, for the models, it depends. It depends on the situation, I guess. All right, so here's another question from Amari. Do you plan on doing another photo walk in Chicago anytime soon?
I actually I'm thinking about doing a workshop here in Chicago when it gets warmer. We're gonna do some on location stuff, so be on the lookout for that. I definitely want to do at least 2 workshops before I leave. So yeah.
So there you go. So Martin is asking, at Manny, ergonomics on Sony for me isn't up to par. My question, do you think Sony will improve their ergonomics on their full frame camera?
I'm gonna be honest with you. This is something that it's subjective, because I actually like the ergonomics. That's me. I got my, what is this? My A7R3 here. I mean, I got my custom buttons right here. I like them. Focus area, focus mode. I've got my front and back dial. I mean, I got my joystick here. I don't know. I actually enjoy the ergonomics. So it's a subjective thing. I don't know if they're going to improve it, because a lot of people don't have problems with it. I know the Angry Photographer does. He talks about that all the time with Sony's ergonomics, that's him, Like I enjoy the ergonomics, honestly. So
the only thing I didn't really enjoy about the Sony body lines, especially the A7 whatever, though I don't know cameras. Sorry, man. It's like cameras and gear is just not something that's ingrained in my head. But anyways, when I picked up the Sony A7 or something camera, the body style was, for me, it was just a little bit awkward because of the pinky was just hanging off the bottom.
yeah.
And that for me just felt a little bit awkward. So for me, I was like, okay, I wouldn't necessarily use this as a, yeah, exactly, just like that.
But I have, hey,
Well,
I got that Donald Trump grip.
you got the Donald Trump grip. But yeah, it wasn't something that really, if I was gonna use it, as it wouldn't be my main driver, to say the least, right? But I picked up the A9, right? And when I picked up the A9, I was like, oh, okay, this is better. This feels better, right? Than the A7 line body. But
Right.
that being said, I did order the A7R3 camera, and when that gets here and I start using it a little bit, I don't think it'll still be my main driver, but I'll basically use it and see how it feels. What's his name? Keedron mentioned to me that there's a little
There's a little grip thing that you can
yeah,
buy here for the pinky.
right.
It's gonna solve all your problems.
So I'm gonna
Seriously.
try that and see how that works. It's a
Yeah.
$2,000 camera. It's, you know, so I'm not gonna go
It's about
pick up.
another $100, and it's gonna improve the the way you hold your camera, and it's gonna just improve it so much. These people, I'm just saying, these people are cracking me up on in the chat, like, and it's lag. And what's funny is that my internet's so laggy that it's like coming in really slow, but they're calling my potato net. And for you know what, okay, whoever's talking about my internet, I'm actually on data right now, my T-Mobile data.
Yeah, he's on cellular data.
Yeah, because my Wi-Fi doesn't reach.
So,
Well,
hey, I mean, you roll with the punches.
yep.
So, Shane is asking here, Manny, with you not having had any formal training and being a self-taught photographer, when did you feel comfortable enough to consider yourself ready to go pro? I guess quote unquote pro is what he put.
Yeah, pro. That thing always gets to me. What really is a pro, right? Pro is, I mean, I know what the definition is for photography, right? It's pro is going to making a living off photography, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know what pro. I don't know when I actually went pro. I'm assuming when I started shooting weddings, right? I
Right.
mean, it's up for, it's up for debate. But I think that I think the biggest.
Hold that thought. Biggest, I gotta get Manny back here. Hang on 1 second, guys. Intermission. Quick intermission. One second, guys. But keep those questions coming. Especially just put in so it could be the most recent questions so I could see it. All right, hang on 1 second.
Donald Trump grip. Hashtag.
I think you just created a new hashtag, the Donald Trump grip.
The Donald Trump grip.
All right, so you were saying?
Yeah, no, I'm saying that I think that becoming a good problem solver is what's gonna get you to that professional level, in my opinion. Being able to problem solve, being able to adjust on the fly. That's what's gonna get you to that pro level, because people expect pro photographers to know what they're doing, right? If you have a problem, they expect the professional photographer to be able to figure it out. You know, so that's just for me. When you're able to problem solve, when you have enough experience to be able to adjust on the fly, that is when you're ready to become a pro, in my opinion.
I agree. Also, if you want to also put a definition on pro as well, you know, in my opinion, is just basically if you start getting paid, you're a pro. Period. You don't necessarily have to be full time at it, but if you're getting paid, you're good. And if you know what you're doing, you're good.
That's the more like general kind of definition of it, or what everyone says pro is. But to me, it's just, I don't know. I see it a little differently, I guess.
That is accurate. So I hope Shane, I hope that answers your question.
Cool.
So G Street is asking, do you consider photography workshops or photography conferences like Shutterfest a good investment of time and money? And if so, which one did you attend?
I pretty much attend. I try to attend all of them. I know I missed Shutterfest and Imaging last year. Yeah, I think I missed both of those. But it's like going to like candy, like the Willy Wonka factory of photography, right? So it's like, what I love about it is to meet other photographers, to try out new gear while it's out. It's like photographers, we're not like, it's just a very niche field. So it's so nice to be around so many other photographers. It's so inspiring. That's why I love to go.
Yeah. Shutterfest, if you haven't gone to that one, you should hit that one up. It's a very intimate. It's that was the first one I ever went to, and I loved it. I can't go this year. I have to always pick one, not two. Kind of like you, I have I have a job outside of this, so I have to pick and choose which ones I go to.
Yeah.
Hang on one second here. Let me go to the next question. How do you decide? So this is from Matthew. How do you decide which brand fit for you? Is it their previous photo work, personal use, etc.?
I tried them all, except obviously, yeah, I've tried them all. I owned the Fuji before. I owned the Canon, Nikon. I owned the Fuji. I owned Sony. Canon. I started off with Canon. I ended up getting the 5D Mark II. I didn't like the shadow recovery of Canon. That's what put me off. I got the Nikon D600. The shadow recovery was amazing. Like the Nikon image, the overall image quality of the Nikon, I preferred that over Canon, for sure, 100%. But then it started getting the oil spots on the Nikon, and I left Nikon because of that. And Nikon didn't want to own up to it. I went back to Canon. I realized, damn, I'm like, I missed that shadow recovery. I noticed right away when I got Canon. I'm like, damn it. So I went back to Canon, and then I got a Fuji as well as a second camera, and I really, really liked Fuji. I love the knobs and stuff, but I didn't like the image quality. I don't know, I just didn't like the files that came out of it. I liked having that depth of field. I needed that full frame look. So then that's when I went to Sony. Hey, babe. Oh, I gotta get Jojo, right? Okay, cool. All right. Yeah, so we got a blitz. I got to pick up my son from the karate class.
Okay.
I got a blitz, 5-minute blitz, do questions.
Okay. So Kevin, you're the lucky guy here then. So Manny, what would you suggest as a first lens for my new Sony A7 III?
A7 III. First lens is Zoom or Prime.
He didn't specify.
Okay. Definitely a 50 is always the best general lens, right? A 55 1.8, 50 1.8, even a Sigma 35 1.4, something like that. If you're looking for a zoom lens, obviously the G-Max is the best one, but if you can't, that's kind of on a pricey side. Yeah, I don't know. I'd get a prime, like a 50 35 prime.
Okay. Adley is asking, how did you become a Sony brand ambassador?
Naturally through YouTube. I was doing Sony video.
I think that might be the last question, guys, that he answered. But let me get him back here and just sign off with Manny. And I guess we'll call this a... So give me 1 second, guys. Let me get him back.
Okay, so how do you become a Sony ambassador? They reached out to me. They asked me if I wanted to join their team because they seen my work on YouTube, and that was that.
That was that. All right.
Yeah.
Keep me honest here. We have what, 3 minutes?
Yeah.
Okay.
Come on, let's do it.
All right. Will you be opening up official studio location in Florida, or rely on that beautiful weather and shoot outdoors?
That beautiful weather it's not beautiful in June and July because the humidity is crazy out there. I know Marcus knows that. But yeah, I plan on having a studio, and it's actually going to be a business as well. It's going to be like a little, I can't really talk about it too much, but definitely it's going to be where I want to build like a little community of photographers. Well, it's not my business, but I'm going to partner up with somebody else. So it's going to be pretty cool.
Okay. Yeah. So Shane is saying, how much pre-planning goes into your location choice? It seems to be a big part of your style, which I think it's urban portraiture. Do you decide on the go, or would you have scouted them in advance?
I don't have the time to scout with my full-time job. I just go out and do it. I just go out and just do it, basically. Yeah.
So just let the light guide you.
Literally.
So lastly here from, I can't pronounce your name, Mayor, I think is Mayur. He's pretty much saying is how to price photography. Photography is art and art is subjective. I'm starting out in portrait photography and work with natural light.
All right. Well, I mean, pricing photography doesn't really, I don't know. I guess it doesn't really correlate with like being that photography is art, but when it comes to pricing photography, that's one of the hardest things. Even to this day, I have problems pricing photography because I feel like my prices are too high sometimes, and I'm scared to tell people, right? Because they're gonna look at me like, like, what do you wait? What, you charge how much? So sometimes I still have that problem telling people my price. I'm kind of like, I don't know if I want to tell them because I know they're probably not going to be able to afford me. But how do you price your photography is based on your skill set. Like, look at the experience under your belt and how consistent you are giving good images. If you're really consistent, babe, I'm gonna be leaving in 2 minutes. This is my last question. Okay, cool. Right, it's my last question. um, so yeah. So I lost my train of thought there. So based on your experience. Experience is, if you're consistently putting on good images, then that's when you can start uh putting raising your price. And also if you're in demand, like if you get a lot of people inquiring, that's when you can kind of start raising your prices. But I would start low. I started off really low. I started off $75 a photo shoot
Yeah.
when I started. Yeah.
Awesome. So, Manny, thank you very much, man. I appreciate
Thank you
you
for having
hanging
me.
in there. I appreciate you answering all the questions. And guys, I sincerely, please go and follow Manny if you're not following him right now on Instagram, and hit him up on his YouTube. So that is it. I know I'll let you go because you have to run. Thank you
Yep.
very much, and I'll close it out from here. So
All right, thank you for having me, and thank you everybody who joined the chat, and I hope you guys had a good time because it sure looks like it. So
they had a party in that chat.
yeah, they did. All right, cool, man.
All right, man.
Well, thanks for having me, man. Talk to you later.
Take care. Bye.
All right, bye.
All right, guys. So that is it. That's the end of the show. I hope you guys got some valuable information from there. I know we had some technical challenges in between, but I hope at least you got a lot of information from it. So so that is it, guys. This is pretty much the end of the broadcast. If you do have any more follow-up questions that you want to drop there really quickly, I could see if I could feed those questions. If not, I will catch you guys on the next live broadcast. I am looking for, this might be a good time to plug. If you are a full-time business owner out there and you would like to be part of this broadcast, talking business basically, please reach out to me. I am looking for, guests that basically have something that could contribute back to the community, give people some advice on, how, you guys are running your business, so it could help other people out there. So if you are out there and you do have a business, or someone out there that have a business that you want to know more about, reach out to them, let them know about the Talking Business show, let them know about the channel so that they can reach out to me, and so I could arrange, to have a sit down with them, have a conversation, do an interview, and, figure out how they operate their business. So Shane is saying, thanks for setting this up, Ernesto. I'm off to bed. It's 3. Wow, in Cape Town. It's 3 a.m. in Cape Town. Well, I appreciate you hanging in there that late. So yeah, if you guys know anyone, let them know. Tell them to come out and reach out to me so I could, talk to them about being on the show. So Wes is saying, come to Shutterfest April 3. Yeah, this year I'm not going to be going to Shutterfest. I'm going to go to Shutterfest perhaps next year. But I have to pick and choose which one, either Shutterfest or WPPI. So I have to pick one or the other. I can't go to both. So yeah. So guys, if you got this far in the video, I sincerely appreciate it. It was awesome. I know we had those technical issues in the beginning, but it's awesome that you hang in there. But if you did like this video, please slap that that thumbs up button. Hang on one second. Bryce is still trying to link up with you soon for a shoot. Oh, so Bryce, Bryce is in North Carolina. Still trying to link up with you soon for a shoot when the weather calms down. Let's do it. I will make the drive for sure, man. Just reach out and let me know when you're coming through. I think you're in Charlotte, right? Yeah, so come on through. So Amari, about to get info off camera but want to start small. Any thoughts about the Godox 8200? The Godox 8200 is an awesome little flash. I would definitely recommend it. I have two of them, although one of them is kind of I think a little bit defective. It fires sometimes, don't fire, but I think that's just a defective unit that I have. But it's an amazing little camera. It definitely replaced my flash, my speedlights. It definitely replaced my speedlights. I don't ever carry around speedlights anymore. I mean, I may have like one speedlight just in case I wanted like a 3-light setup or something. But yeah, it definitely replaced it. So Mario, I would definitely say, don't hesitate. Get that 8200, no problem. So Marcus, you can have Seattle. We got Tacoma on lock. So yeah, that is it. So guys, don't forget to follow me on my Instagram. Like I said, I updated my Instagram. So hit me up on Instagram. It's Ernesto Sue. I did change it. G Street, thank you very much, my friend. $10 for great contents, especially from Manny, Irene, Ike, and surviving the intermissions. I appreciate it, bro. Amari, Ernesto, thanks. Awesome job. Yep, so thank you guys. I'm gonna wrap it up here. Yeah, sorry, I'm getting messages all over, so I'm getting distracted a little bit. All right, so I'm just gonna end it here. Thank you guys. Thank you very much for tuning in. Again, I just want to give a big special thank you for Manny for joining this live broadcast. It was awesome. All right, so guys, if you enjoyed this video, hit that thumbs up button. Put some comments down below. Let me know what you think about this video after it's no longer live. And please share this video with your friends and family if you think it would help them. And guys, if you got this far in this video and you haven't subscribed yet to this channel, please go ahead and hit that subscribe button. And I'll see you guys on the next video. All right, take care. Bye-bye.